I thought I was going to go to Hollywood and take it by storm as a secondary player on a sitcom, like the guy who comes in and says something funny, makes a face, does an armpit fart, and leaves. But my first job was a dancing mummy. And that my second job was an alien from outer space for a Pamela doll commercial. My third job, I got to play a nerd with horn-rimmed glasses and going, hey, woohoo, for Bob's Big Boy. And then my fourth job was the Mac Tonight campaign for McDonald's. This love ya babe sort of Vegas-y attitude on this character that McDonald's had developed to boost their nighttime business. I had no idea what I was in for. I booked that job. And it turned into a 27 commercial campaign over the next 3 years. So that was like a coup to end all coups. For an actor at my level at the time, to book a campaign like that was golden. That's where I gained my reputation as the guy who wears a lot of stuff, moves well in it, and doesn't complain, which is key. That's 50% of getting a referral for the next job. What happens is that the people who worked on that commercial campaign then might roll off into another creature effects shop and be working on a movie that involves an alien or a dead guy, a zombie or something. And that's how my career happened, was job after job, that referral after referral of people that had worked with me once before and wanted to work with me again. So I owe so many people so much to have gotten to where I am today. Relationships develop over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And so now 22 years into the business, you know, I'm sitting here with a few directors that I'm friends with that will have me in anything they do, and directors that I want to be in whatever they make. Relationships, it's all about that. Do you want to see me put my leg behind my head?
Yes.
I'm gonna. You can't stop me. Ta-da! Okay. Okay, thank you. So anyway, because I can do that became another little side gig that like people would keep hiring me for. A lot of TV commercials and sitcoms and sight gags and things like, you know, we need somebody who's flexible, and can we have. My stuntman friend knew that I was a contortionist, and this Batman Returns, Danny DeVito hung out with the Red Triangle Circus gang. I meet the stunt coordinator, and I went through my routine. Okay, here's what I can do. Waka waka yaka, yada yada yada, wada wada, and he was like, oh, well, he was very entertained by me. So he said, Doug, would you wait right here? I'm gonna go get I want you to meet somebody. He comes back in the room with the director, Tim Burton. And I'm standing there going, and he says, yeah, this is Tim, our director, and can you do what you did just for me to do that again? And I said, yada yada yada, wada yaka, yada, So the stunt coordinator and Tim Burton go into the next room, and I'm standing there going, they come back in, and Tim says, okay, great, you got the part. The part. And I was like, wait, I thought I was here to be like a weird, twisty guy for a couple of days. Turns out there was a part called The Thin Clown that was scripted. It was originally planning to film for 3 weeks, that role, and I ended up filming for 3 months. I spoke once, I had one line, great speech, Oswald. Then from there, Hocus Pocus came next. So Hocus Pocus has now become like a Halloween classic film that every kid knows, and I meet people in their 20s who've grown up with me, you know, and they're like, you were Billy Butcherson? No way! But then I went on into obscurity right afterwards again, or stayed in obscurity. But job after job after job after job, 1997 comes along, and I got one of those referral phone calls from a creature effects makeup house. And they're saying, Doug, we're doing reshoots for this movie. It's called Mimic. Are you free tonight to come down and do a night shoot? I worked on that for 3 days. On my second day is when I met the director of the film. A tubby, jolly, smiley, beautiful heart named Guillermo del Toro. He sat across the lunch table from me on my second day, and he joined me. And he sat there like this with his head in his hands, and he said, so tell me everything you've been in. He wanted to know every monster I'd ever played, every makeup artist I'd ever worked with, because he's fascinated by horror films and all things creepy, crawly. He's a fanboy. I fell in love with him. I was like, whoever this man is, I want to know more of him. Before that lunchtime was over, he said, do you have a card? Put it in his wallet. And 5 years later, I go off and do more movies, and in 2002 now, I get another phone call out of the blue from someone at a creature effects shop called Spectral Motion. Steve Wang was the guy who called me, and he said, Doug, we're sitting around here at dinner right now celebrating the final design of a creature that we just designed that's been approved, and your name came up. I'm like, oh, really? What's the deal? Well, what had happened earlier that day was artist Jose Fernandez, Mike Elizalde, the head of the shop, Steve Wang, the designer of this, one of them sat back and said, you know, that looks like Doug Jones. And then the other one goes, oh, it does look like Doug Jones. I've worked with him before. And the other one's like, yeah, he'd be perfect. Guillermo del Toro was in the room with them, and he says, Doug Jones. I know Doug Jones. Pulled my card out of his wallet 5 years later. So that is how I became Abe Sapien in the first Hellboy film. And that was my second film with Guillermo del Toro, and it really established my relationship with him. We had a symbiotic director-actor relationship that really worked, a communication that didn't need many words. After Hellboy, he starts working on another movie called Pan's Labyrinth. And he sends me an email one day and says, Doug, in this email, it is an email, not a phone call, not a personal visit, an email. He's working on a film called Pan's Labyrinth in Spain. He's there right now in pre-production. Okay, He wants me to play the role of the faun, Pan, and no one else can play the role but me? That's what he said. You have to read the script and get back to me tonight. I read this script, wiped a tear away at the end of the script and said, I have to be in this. Then another movie came along called Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. And one of the makeup shops, Spectral Motion again, that had done my Abe Sapien design, they were designing the Silver Surfer. They suggested to the studio, you've got to get Doug Jones for this. He's the perfect size, shape, movement, abilities. And then after that, Hellboy 2 comes along, and they want the old cast back, and break after break after break has been my big break. Do you know what I mean? And right up till today, I'm sitting here right now just finishing a film that I consider another big break for me. My Name is Jerry, small independent film, but it's every bit the break that these other films have been because it's different and new and groundbreaking for me. Yes, I've acted with my own face before, but now I'm the title role. I'm Jerry in a movie called My Name is Jerry. and the movie revolves around my character, and I'm doing it with this face and have it to portray a wide range of emotion, anywhere from goofy tomfoolery physical comedy all the way to tears wiping them away off my cheek in another scene the next day. So this has been an unreal experience for me, and what I consider to be my newest big break.